I just recalled a terrible teacher I, F22, had when I was in the 3rd grade. I'm seething just thinking about it and wanted to share. Big emphasis that I was 9 years old, uneasy face. Anyways, there are 2 particular instances I wanted to share. Instance 1, my class seemed to be struggling with a particular math concept. This made her very mad and irritated with us. We were doing worksheets and she straight up told us we were not to hand in our sheets to her until they were correct. Will like WTF, none of us knew what we were doing. If we went up to ask for help, she was visibly mad and sent us back to our desks offering no help. Some of us confidently went to her desk to turn in our worksheets and she began to belittle those people and tell them they were wrong and do not come back until it's perfect. This was such a painstakingly awful period and most of us were crying quietly. Me specifically trying to hand it in a couple times and being degraded and shouted at. Not only was this embarrassing in front of the whole class but very defeating. I don't think a lot of us finished those worksheets that day. I can't remember exactly how it happened, but she ended up giving me in particular attention, for crying too much. Dentition was sitting in a desk in the hallway, for everyone to see. She told me, and I quote, "You're behaving worse than my 3-year-old nephew." Of course this made me more hysterical. She then came up with the conclusion that I was acting this way because I couldn't do Secret Santa. To add context, Secret Santa was a thing our school set up for students to buy gifts for their families if they sent them with money. I could care less for these silly cheap gifts. But she called me a brat, and called my parents to tell them, making them feel obliged to send me with money to shop. Instance 2, my country had these mandatory tests called PATs. They made 3, 6 and 9 graders write. Same stress as final exams, but the purpose I think was to see how kids were performing and collect data on that. They have since gotten rid of these and I'm pretty sure my generation was the last to have to write them. This particular instance we were to write a story based off of a picture they provided. Again, I guess my class failed miserably at this. Perhaps this looked bad on my teacher's part and she took her anger out on us. I'm not really sure this next part is legal. But she proceeded to read every single kid's story out loud to the class and terror them to pieces. Absolutely ridiculing them and saying how terrible they are. Again, we were 9 years old. This was humiliating. Anyways, just had to get that off my chest, lol.